Few jobs require less physical exertion than rebounding for Caitlin Clark. On an early November morning in downtown Indianapolis, Clark, the two-time College National Player of the Year for the University of Iowa, reigning WNBA Rookie of the Year from the Indiana Fever, and emergent American sports icon, sprints to different spots along the three-point line at the Fever practice gym, trying to bang as many shots as possible over a 6-minute span. A Fever coach has tasked me with standing under the basket to retrieve her misses. But as Clark runs all over the court to launch long-range bombs, I barely have to move. Swish, swish, swish. She hits 14 shots in a row. A dozen in a row. 11 in a row. Swish, swish, swish. 9 in a row. Another sure. She's putting on this display in practice. But her ability is still mesmerizing. Clark, 22, takes shots with a degree of difficulty never before witnessed in the women's game. Her signature 30-feet launches from near half-court on team logos across America are akin to home run balls, hanging high in the air. Can she actually make that flabbergasting attempt? Yes. It turns out, over and over again, nice to know that after wowing so many around the world throughout her record-breaking year, Clark can still impress herself. In February, she set the new NCAA Division I women's basketball scoring record. A few weeks later, she broke Hall of Famer Pete Maravich's mark, making her the top scorer overall. Her college championship game between Iowa and South Carolina averaged 18.9 million viewers, becoming the second most watched women's sporting event, outside the Olympic Games, in the history of U.S. television, with American viewership outdrawing that of each game of the 2024 NBA Finals and World Series. And for the first time ever, more people tuned in for the women's NCAA championship than the men's. As a pro, she set a rookie record for most three-pointers made in season and most assists in a single game. She signed a reported $28 million endorsement deal with Nike, the largest ever for a women's basketball player. Clark's Fever appeared in the most watched WNBA games ever on ABC, CBS, ESPN, and ESPN2. The WNBA attracted an all-time record of more than 54 million unique viewers across all its national broadcasting platforms during the regular season, and the league's overall attendance jumped 48% year-over-year to its highest level in more than 2 decades. The Fever broke the WNBA record for home attendance by a single franchise, and Fever games were moved to NBA and NHL arenas in Las Vegas, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. to accommodate the hordes of fans, many donning Clark's number 22 jersey. The Washington Mystics Fever regular season finale set a new WNBA single-game attendance record of 2711. When asked to define her year in one word, Clark chooses historic. Clark, it quickly becomes clear, is polite and down-to-earth, but also has not an ounce of false humility. I've been able to captivate so many people that have never watched women's sports, let alone women's basketball, and turn them into fans, she says. Good luck naming another player who altered the trajectory of their entire team sport within 5 months on the job. Lionel Messi had a monumental influence on Major League Soccer when he arrived in Miami last year, but he was in year 20 of his pro career. Michael Jordan energized the NBA in the mid-1980s, but Larry Bird and Magic Johnson had already put the league on solid footing. While other female athletes have pushed the limits of human achievement and created their own cultures, Serena Williams, Simone Biles, and the stars of the U.S. women's national soccer team all come to mind. The Clark phenomenon is still unprecedented. It's one thing to rally around athletes during global spectacles like tennis majors or an Olympics or a World Cup. It's quite another to turn routine regular season games in the WNBA, a league neglected for far too long over its 27-year history, into appointment viewing. To be clear, Clark had plenty of help. The WNBA was already enjoying positive momentum going into the 2024 season, thanks to MVPs like Aya Wilson and Breanna Stewart, and some of Clark's fellow rookies, like Angel Reese and Cameron Brink, brought their own followings. But Clark took the league, and the sport, to a new level. Even during a period when investment across women's sports is surging, team valuations are on the rise, and fan interest and engagement are at all-time highs, her arrival was transformative. Clark's skyrocketing fame has upended her life at a dizzying rate. She now has an advanced security squad. A fan asked her to sign a sonogram. "There's just so much weird stuff," she says. The Golf Channel covered her appearance at an LPGA Pro-Am event as if she were Tiger Woods in his prime, moving up its studio show by 90 minutes to provide live look-ins at her swings. She's box office, says Atlanta Dream co-owner Renee Montgomery, a former WNBA player. At times, the plot proved unpleasant. All year, Clark found herself party to raging debates, even though she rarely, if ever, did anything to perpetrate them. I tell people I feel like the most controversial person, says Clark. But I am not. It's just because of all the storylines that surround me. I literally try to live and treat everybody in the same exact respectful, kind way. It just confuses me at times. That her gender played a role in the level of scrutiny is hard to deny. Clark's introductory press conference with the Fever was a harbinger of things to come. A male reporter appeared to make a cringeworthy attempt at flirtation with Clark. He was suspended and prohibited from covering the Fever. As the season progressed, more flashpoints emerged, whether concerning the marketing advantage granted by her race, fouls that players committed against her, or her exclusion from the U.S. Olympic team, that spurred her so-called defenders to push racist, misogynistic, anti-LGBTQ narratives, or even threaten WNBA players directly. She calls this toxicity upsetting and gross, but during the season she addressed the discourse, mostly when asked about it in courtside interviews, or at press conferences rather than proactively engaging with it. It's not something I can control, and to be honest, I don't see a lot of it, she told the Athletics' Jim Trotter in June. Her extended interview with Time is the first time she's talked at length about her year. Thanks, like, and share the video.